Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and in today's little dev update we are going to explore how the implementation of the Lite Campaign V3 is progressing. And it took a while until I could show you this in a new little dev update. There hasn't been one for quite a while, we are well aware of that, and the reasons are mainly twofold. First of all, the standard everything is so broken that it's impossible to show. And that is natural for implementing new big features, and has been the case in all our bigger updates, I believe. And the second one is that we are currently switching the engine to the upgraded version 4.20.1 from the current one we are using, which is 4.17.2. So yep, new engine, lots of changes there. Hopefully also brings a fix to the garbage collection bug we have had, although we have had much less reports of crashes coming from that one, so that's a bonus. But yeah, there will be a content update coming that is disconnected from what we are working on right here, what I'm going to show you today. And that content update will include mainly car bodies and fixtures, so just more content, no balance changes or game mechanics changes. And that can be expected in the next few weeks. And hopefully it helps you bridge the gap to the Lite Campaign V3, which we are going to take a look at now. But be warned, it's still extremely broken, and what you're going to see is not representative of what it will be. All the UI is work in progress, and you can't have a WIP banner across the screens everywhere, so we only have it on this button right now. Anyway, let's take a look what is going on inside. So first screen, yay, we have a screen, and you can have save files. And we select a new game. This new game, there we go. This is an ugly version of the screen that it will be at some point. You can get some information in here about the country size and later also on other parameters. I've shown you many of the UI drafts for these pages, so you basically already know what it's supposed to look like, and that would not be like this. But this is where you change your tech pool, starting tech pool. Here's where you pick your engineers, your cash, and here you can select your factories you start with, or rather the factory you start with for the car and engine. And these are just the sizes for all the sub-sizes in small and medium and large. And then the competitor's strength. And yeah, this slider doesn't work yet. Also market volatility, that's a new option since the Lite Campaign V2. And then the overall difficulty is calculated from that. None of that is working apart from cash right now, I believe. And this one also has to be ignored. So yeah, that's all fine. It will be pretty easy to hook up here, but let's get started. 650 million, 700 million should be enough. Alright, it's actually warning me, I forgot my company name. So Kirob Motors it is, and we are going to start in Gersmeer. And wonderful graphs, this is off the charts. Oh yes, it is. Still have to figure out what the hell is going on with this this graph. This is Ahana freaking out, I don't know why. But the graph, apart from this weird effect, is already working, and this is all a mess, I know. It's looking very messy. But hang in here, we do have something more to show you. So these are all the current economic growth data for the various countries. Here you have your finances and loans. Incoming, outgoing is plotted here in money. And that's all good. This is the project screen, which currently, of course, is empty because we don't have a project. And then here we have a car museum, which at some point will be awesome. Yeah. So we also have some market screens, which are not very formatted right now. And the first thing we are going to do is to start designing a car. And we just do that by clicking this button and we get to the car manager. Yes, familiar overview. And this is not the final one either. But here we go, new model. And then Oh, this is just all over the place with UI, as you see. But somewhat functional, so you select a country or countries which you want to sell to. And if you select multiple countries like this, oh, this is, by the way, the table you have in that little room here, where the car is and the engine is on, like this. When you select multiple countries, it will average and sum them in the appropriate way. So we are now just going to try to sell to Gazmir though, and it also shows the country tastes and whatever the economy currently is of the country. Okay, so we're going to design a car for Gazmir, and the first thing we do is to modify the model. How about a nice little sports coupe for our first car, like this, and I'm just going to put it together real quick. Something along these lines. Alright, and as you can see, the various designers are now split up in into their appropriate parts. So once you're done with chassis design, you just move up here. And to those of you who have played the game before the last big update, you are quite aware of this flow, as you've probably tried it out already. Now that we have our platform designed, we can add the engine into our first trim slot. So that brings us over to the equivalent of the engine model designer, or engine family designer rather. And we can modify the family of the new engine we are creating here. What are we going to put into this one? Maybe a smallish V8. And this is all for the family definition. Only the first page of the engine designer, and we move all the way up again. And now we have our first variant slot active, which we can modify the first variant of this engine family. Currently, the engine bay size is not correctly ported over, so it will look like it's too large, but that will, of course, be fixed. Oh my, that is scary amounts of horsepower for that time, but if we are going to make a sports car, then this probably classifies more as a hypercar for back in the day. Not quite, it depends on how heavy this car is. Alright, now that we have designed this engine, and we can make the engine to be ready to be signed off later on, or we just go back here. Alright, let's go back, and we are back in our car build, and now we have our engine in that car, and we can continue making the trim, the very first one. So I'm putting on the small coupe body here. I'm not going to design it, obviously, but let me go through and slap together a few technical parameters. That makes sense. Alright, quickly put together, but we are right where we want it to be. Sports segment, it's looking good. And with a few more ticks of optimization, we are at the 120 mark. It's all looking beautiful. Well, it has the flaws of an old car, but it's probably scary to drive also. 123 horsepower back in the day. Alright, save it, and we are back to the overview, where we now see... Oh well, that's the wrong category. Didn't want to go for light sport, but sport. There. Okay. So 120 score on this one, and now let's make another one. And we can just clone this one to put into a new spot. And then we shall have a luxury version of it. This is looking quite nice. And I just put in some high quality interior into this one and readjusted suspension tuning. And with this, yeah, I think that fits pretty well. Save this one, go out of here. It's using the same engine. Currently the engine stuff is still a little bit broken, so I unfortunately can't just switch it out to another one. But of course that is entirely possible. You can put whatever engine you want into this one, as opposed to just using the same one everywhere. Let's say we are done here. This is perfectly fine. Oh, sport, yeah. Let's select a different category here. This is more like a hypercar, maybe. And now we go forward to the production, and that is what was locked off in the last version you have played of this. So now we are in the production screen, and one where we select the various factories. And right now we don't have a factory, so we need to create a new one. And yeah, this UI isn't finished, obviously. Oh, here we have it. you can select a country, and then you need to select a plot size where you want to put your factory on. You get the cost for the plot, and I think this medium factory looks quite nifty. Let's go with this one. Then we have the actual factory size. Now the plot has loaded in. So this is our new plot. It's very empty. Let me put a small factory size 2 on it. And there it is. You know it from the photo scene. You have been around it. This is also where you select the various processes for the production, for cost obviously, and the various add-ons and add-on facilities, and you get a summary for the construction costs. And I'm showing you the small free because none of the others currently is loading. But every one of these factory sizes does have its own model, and that will be included in the update, so you have some nice little visualization of what is going on your plots. And then we need to set up the production the way we did back in the Lite Campaign V2 as well. And the level of automation, it's not over 9,000. And yeah, you see how it changes production outputs and efficiency over all of the factory, the tooling quality, those things are already changing things. The QA stuff isn't in yet, but will be, and then maintenance and worker wages you can determine and so on. All that is not quite hooked up yet. So now we have a factory that is set up to produce the 2 cars. Oh, wait a second. Let me modify a few things here. We have the priority mode in here, and we can put this one to priority 1, let's say, and this one to priority 2. That would mean that it tries to sell as many of this as possible, and first when that one is like used up, then it will start producing these, and that is automatic for each month. The AI would be automatically micromanaging production levels with the priorities you set. The normal way of doing this is just leave everything at the same priority level, and the AI will manage just fine. So now that we have chosen a factory that is going to be built, that is quite important. It is not built yet, so you can go back here before you have signed off and change things around, like, oh, I maybe want to have a medium factory after all, or something like this. And currently there is no feedback showing how many cars it would be producing and such. That, of course, will be very important to show. But yes, it's all very confusing still. And here we have our engineering and the engineering time going on. And importantly, we have our setting here for the tooling, how well optimized the cars are to be mass produced. And that is the way how a small scale manufacturer can get away with just being a boutique manufacturer and not having massive factory costs. They will have massive man hours, but very low costs, and they will only have very low volume, production volume too. And not massive engineering times either. That is that's a way to get around this for smaller manufacturers. This is a very important addition to the Lite Campaign V3 that wasn't in the Lite Campaign V2. You already know about the reliability slider, the funding slider, and the pressure slider, which is like how much you want to put your engineers to task and how focused they are supposed to work, versus how much leeway they have to teach juniors and so on. But anyway, let's move forward. We have just built one engine here in this case, and when you're moving, this was the car engineering. Once you have set up your car engineering, you move to the engine project management, and you would see all the engines and variants of that engine that you are currently trying to produce. And the various engine families need to be ready to be signed off, so that in the final step, in the sign-off, you can just give the final okay and send it all off to engineering. These are individual engineering projects that would be listed here. It could be that you have 3 different engines that are in 5 different cars, and they all belong to the same model of the car. And that means that, well, all of them have to have a new facelift or be part of yeah, whatever, engine projects. And all these engine projects need to be readied. So what we want to do here is now complete the step we didn't do before, we could have done before. So you just move in here, and the same thing goes for this. It's all kind of the same layout, the same functionality, just looking awful right now. But so we want to build an engine factory in Gasmere. Let's make it a small one, a small 2, and that one won't be showing up. Yep. Facilities, nah, no facilities, don't make any change right, they don't matter anyway right now. And this is fine, this is our engine variant, it doesn't have a name. And here you can also change the engine parameters, the engineering parameters and so on, but let's say we're happy with this. Now we have the engine factory set up. We then have to set up the engineering for the engine, and then we are on the sign-off screen, which is not hooked up yet, for the engine, and we can ready this engine for sign-off. And that brings us back to our overview page with all the engines to be signed off, and this one should be changing to green. So if you have a list, you can go through them one by one and make sure that everything is signed off. So if you keep an overview, you're always coming back to this hub page where your engine needs to be signed, your engines need to be signed off. And yeah, you see it here, it's in one model and 2 trims, this engine. So now we're moving forward, and we have our prognosis page, our forecasting page. Very, very important. This is what we are currently working on the most, and it is immensely important to understand what's going on. I think I went through the UI draft for it. There's a lot of things going on, but this will give you all the tools you need to see if a project will be feasible, and you can tune it to pay back your bills at a certain amount of time. Currently, your options here are the break-even point, the minimum shifts you are willing to reduce it to, and the maximum shifts you're willing to allow. Your target shifts is what the AI will be trying to optimize for, and the break-even point is basically with all the costs of the project and the production cost of a car. If we give it 60 months of time, how expensive would the average car you're selling have to be in order to pay back for everything in those 60 months? So that's your break-even point. And then your margin you decide on gives you a bit of leeway in either direction. So changing this here, as you can see, makes the car cheaper. This is the average sales price of a car. So at 84 months break-even point, this is, of course, you will be able to sell it cheaper, and the break-even point would be coming later. But on the other hand, we are already limited at 3 shifts. So yeah, that's not a good move. You can sell it way more expensive than that. So what would happen when the AI sees this production is, oh well, we are at 3 shifts, we want to be at 2.3 shifts. How much more expensive do I have to make these cars such that we are able to get back to 2.3 shifts of production? That is not part of the forecast though. You would be able to set that here, and also probably a price decay and all kinds of things. You could also set a fixed price in here. And just in general, you can see how your model will do. This is all based on not the actual markets that will be. Of course, that would be looking into the future and knowing what your competition does. That doesn't exist, that data. But rather, you have to make your own educated guesses by saying like, yeah, okay, my car probably won't be too competitive for a long time. So let me put the desirability of it as quickly decaying, and then you see how it decays over the years in desirability and, well, competitiveness rather. And also you can set, will your market size grow or rather decline? Your market awareness basically. And how well do you think will the economy be doing? You can set that here. So once you have made up your mind with the factories and everything, and check back with this screen to see if your productions seem to be feasible, then you are ready to actually sign off the project. Also here, no hooked up data. This will be, I think I discussed the screen at length before. so still needs to be filled out. But anyway, let's sign off. You can also take out a loan for the project, which then is tied to the project, which then appears in the bank loan column, so that you have that in your prognosis as well. But anyway, let's say this is all great, and we sign it off. Successful. Yes, no info available. Yeah, great. And now, ta-da! We have our Phoenix with the sport and the luxury trim sitting in our project, in our ugly, currently, project management screen. And you see that the engineering time and everything takes to mid-1947. And now we can unpause the game and get the month ticks going. There we go. Whoa, that's some costs. There we go. Yes. So these are the straight up costs, and these are the, as you see, that's for plot and factory construction, and this is for engineering and then tooling. But you see our line, our timeline, not the Achanen line, they are also moving, as you see, but this line progressing, and as soon as this is done and another month tick has come, we will see that the car is starting to sell. So we are at 400, 430, and now one more tick should do it. No, still not. Okay, next one please. There we go. There we go. So pause this. So you see this car is now actually making money. And how much? Well, let's see. Let's see if we see a green line here somewhere. There it is. Okay, they were just above each other. So the green line is our income, the incoming, and the red line is our outgoing money. So this is already working. And you see time is moving and we are making some money. This is all very, very basic at the moment, as you can see. And most of it isn't properly hooked up and it's not polished at all. But you see, stuff is happening. And let's go in here, monthly sales data. And there you also see like, yes, okay, these are the segments we have been selling to somehow. Somehow they selected Light Sport Premium and stuff. This is all still a little weird. Alright, this is basically what I wanted to show you. So the Lite campaign implementation is coming along. It is, well, as you can see, it's still very, very rough and not really playable unless you know exactly what you're looking for and doing. And we are going to hook up the UI and polish it up, as well as, well, implement most things. Currently, for instance, the costs for the engines aren't included in the project itself, which skews the numbers a lot, and all that good stuff needs to be put in. But we are now coming along very nicely. Our switch over to 420, blazing it, will probably happen this week, as we have prepared everything for it already. And I shall keep you updated on the progress of implementation for the Lite campaign in the coming weeks. And also I'll keep you updated on when this update with content is going to come out. Alright, I hope you enjoyed and see you guys next time.